President Donald Trump's immigration policy is drawing criticism from unlikely voices. Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene and podcaster Joe Rogan have both been vocal about the Trump administration's quote-unquote horrific approach to immigration in the US. Nearly $5 billion has been outlined in new contracts to expand wall construction along America's southwest border. I'm Dan Gooding, and this is what's happening this week in immigration. ICE is unsurprisingly once again dominating headlines in immigration across the US, but we'll get to that. First, let's talk about the southwest border. Over the past 4 years, illegal crossings surged, but last week the Trump administration announced a 50-year low for arrests by the Border Patrol. To keep numbers low at around 8,400 in September, compared to around 250,000 in December 2024, the Department of Homeland Security and US Customs and Border Protection are working to further secure the US-Mexico border by building more of Trump's border wall. The administration has awarded $4.5 billion in new contracts to expand wall construction this past week, and this will add roughly 230 miles of new smart wall barriers and nearly 400 miles of integrated surveillance and detection systems. The smart walls are made of steel fencing with cameras, advanced sensors, lighting, and patrol roads. So these measures have been proposed to improve monitoring and enforcement along key areas of the US-Mexico border. These contracts, which were awarded between September 15th and 30th, are the first funded under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and they come with waivers to speed up the work without usual regulations. California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Del Rio in Texas are areas that will be affected by the new construction. Now, over the past few weeks, ICE and the National Guard have taken over several cities in the US, including Chicago and Portland, Oregon. The raids and presence of ICE officers have drawn a lot of criticism for their use of tear gas and force. A pastor in Chicago, David Black, was struck by a pepper belt. Black told Newsweek about the incident and why he now forgives the officer who struck him.
As a Christian and as a minister of the grace and mercy of God and the beneficiary of that grace and mercy, I forgive these ICE officers, and as an American citizen and a neighbor to my neighbors, I need them to be held to account. I need to see justice and accountability for their actions and for the actions of those who are creating the protocols and giving them orders, because this is not acceptable.
Protests have broken out in Portland against the immigration crackdown as well. Protesters organized an emergency edition of the city's annual World Naked Bike Ride this past Sunday to demonstrate against the Trump administration's immigration enforcement policies. Riders cycled through the streets, battling rain and mid-50-degree temperatures in a protest which met at the city's Immigration and Customs Enforcement building. The tension over the National Guard's deployment in the city, combined with the Trump admin announcing plans to purchase more buildings and expand operations there, have resulted in overflowing strain. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem said last week that authorities would double down on enforcement efforts in Democrat-led cities. Now, while the public has been vocal about their frustrations over the federal deployments, some pushback has come from some more unlikely sources. Joe Rogan tore into Trump's what he called horrific immigration policy during a recent episode of his podcast.
Let's just talk about the immigration thing. The way it looks is horrific. When you're just arresting people in front of their kids and just normal, regular people that have been here for 20 years, that everybody who has a heart can't get along with that.
No.
Everybody who has a heart sees that and goes, that can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be the only way to do this.
Right.
Another vocal critic is Republican Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who said that immigrant deportations have gone too far.
As a conservative and as a business owner in the construction industry and as a realist, I can say we have to do something about labor, and that needs to be a smarter plan than just rounding up every single person and deporting them just like that.
Right.
So, and I'm going to get pushback on that, but I'm just living in reality from here on out.
Yeah.
And if anybody's mad at me for saying the truth, then I'm sorry.
Well, Greene continues to maintain support for President Trump, in recent months she's started to distance herself from the administration on several key issues, and her opposition to the hardline approach to immigration has angered the MAGA base. But what does this mean for the Trump administration? The protests and backlash from prominent figures, is that enough to rattle the administration, who almost wear overcoming opposition as a badge of pride? Time will tell, but for now, with ICE expansions, National Guard operations growing, and that big win on the border, it doesn't seem to be slowing the White House down anytime soon.